Hi, welcome to part one of Amanda Bynes. First and foremost, I hate my makeup today. My family fully heard me cussing out my right eyelash strip, so that's where we are today mentally. And two, I grew up watching Amanda Bynes. So what I feel about Amanda Bynes is genius. I think that if she had been better protected, she would have easily been one of the most influential actresses of our time. And in many ways, she is so influential, probably in ways that we won't recognize till years from now. I mean, this child made having a variety show look so easy and natural, and I can't even imagine the kind of work that kid had to go through and endure, and the hours, and I mean, just the ego on sets, the psychological shit, like, I can't even imagine. So first, I gotta do it. She was born on April 3rd. She's an Aries. Aries sun, Aquarius moon, Gemini rising, which is fun. To me, it sounds like powerful, but like fun and silly and goofy and curious. Her midheaven is in Aquarius, which I find really interesting. Her Mars is in Scorpio, and her Mercury is in Sagittarius, which is rock and roll. Super strong, super expressive. So Amanda was raised in Ventura, California, to two parents, Rick and Lynn. Lynn was a dental assistant and Rick was a dentist. Rick was Irish, Catholic, Polish, and Lynn was Canadian, Jewish, and also white. Amanda has said in the past that her childhood was not ideal, that it was rough. She's made claims that her father was extremely inappropriate with her. I cannot get into detail about that, but give it a Google about her tweets about her dad. And she later recanted those. She later took it back. My dad never did any of those things. The microchip in my brain made me say those things, but he's the one that ordered them to microchip me. And while we are going to dive into her mental health, I do want to say I don't think that these accusations come from thin air. It's so easy to just call someone nuts. But as we go over her story, we see many times that she felt unsafe. And I think those feelings have manifested themselves in many ways. There are so many unfair ways that the body holds on to shame. The body never forgets shame and fear. It only tries to help us survive it. And we're going to have to get into that in part two. Part two, Amanda Bynes. So saying when you're a kid and you feel, shame or fear, you're feeling unsafe, it manifests in so many. There's a creek in this house. And I feel like South Floridian homes were built with glue, spit, popsicle sticks, hope, and prayer. Now it wants to stop. Okay. So those feelings I feel manifest into what I call the Fern Gully oil slick. You remember that movie Fern Gully? Such a good movie. If you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing and go watch it. Plus Robin Williams is in it, so it's good. But that oil slick, it really enters your life and it feels unsettling and uncomfortable. It's very poisonous to your environment. And I don't mean legitimately like trees, but I mean your environment and the way you see your environment. And the people that you trust are the people that help you feel safe. And when that has been poisoned, it can make things really, really difficult and really hard, especially when you're holding on to your shame and maybe somebody else's. So Rick, her dad, the dentist, classic. He always wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but alas, Rick. And so he has said many times, while she was always doodling about fashion, she was always making little clothing designs, she was also an incredible ham. She was always putting on shows. She would put on Rick's clothes and perform for people. And when she was on stage, she had to be physically dragged away. So her parents are she should be an actress. Her parents are yeah, she should pursue acting. Let's make her an actress. And this is my thing with child stars. How do I say this? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a photographer, zoologist, Miami Heat dancer, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, chef. So kids outgrow things. Kids outgrow things. And what kids like is validation as a kid, because you can't differentiate manipulation. You just know that it feels good, okay? What I'm saying is children evolve, and that's why as we get older and we think about a child star and we're like, what are they up to? And they're just like normal people, like, oh, she's a math professor and a stay-at-home mom. It's because children outgrow things and people evolve, right? But as a kid, I can't imagine, meaning like kids outgrow things, people evolve, and I feel like when you're a kid and you're like, if I stop doing this, it'll make my parents sad, especially when you're the breadwinner, and the idea of like, well, adults work, I have to work really hard, it messes with you. And I think people stop aging. Part 3, Amanda Bynes. So I think when we look at child stars or just famous people, I think people stop aging at whatever age they become famous. Because that was like the last... Oh, why? Why are you sending me out to the streets? Why? Okay. Anyway, I think people stop aging at what age they become famous because 1, it was the last time they probably really enjoyed it for like pure purposes. 2, if they were to evolve, they would have to face that they don't like what happened to their life. So, face that feeling of not being in control of their lives. If they were to face the people that were in control of their lives, maybe they wouldn't love them. That's what pisses me off when people are like, oh my God, but Lizzie McGuire, she's like the only normal child star that we know of. And what is normal to you? How does somebody appropriately absorb trauma for you when they're quiet and well-behaved and keep working, as if it's not a Google away, the things that she went through, and one of them being... And it's a pattern with child stars because they're so mature, dating older men. So anyway, Amanda started getting roles immediately. She started doing commercials, and she went to the comedy camp at the Laugh Factory, and she was amazing. I have a clip of it. If you want to see it, I'll probably freaking show you. Not that I'm resentful, but I feel like people are like, hurry up with the parts. No. No. But she was mentored by iconic people. Like, does this top look like I'm Spider-Man? I see it. Yeah, I see it. Iconic people like Arsenio Hall and Richard Pryor. Do me a favor and Google Richard Pryor fertility and Pam Grier. No, that'll ruin your day. Maybe do it tomorrow. Sometimes I watch that clip and I'm like, I don't even know what I would do with a kid like that. Like, so talented, fearless. And then I think I'd let them be a kid. I'd try to protect that, Part 4, Amanda Bynes. From then on, she caught the attention of Nickelodeon. She was hired to do, oh my God, a show that like shaped my childhood, all that. It was like a skit show, like an SNL for kids. And I mean, Jesus, I was obsessed with it. Keenan and Kel were on it. I can't remember if Kel is Cisco's brother, if that was just a myth. I think it was a myth. Nick Cannon was on it, and it was hilarious. She started working a lot with Nickelodeon, and I think this is also like a pivotal time when her development changed, because I just want to say this, like, as a woman, the moment someone, an adult, makes you aware of your body or aware of the way that you are perceived, your childhood is over. Your childhood's done. And she's made many comments where this is when the comments of you have a really puffy face started. So for me, being my age, 31, I feel like I say it every video, like a warning label. She's 31. Happily 31, and Botox the fuck up. Look at my forehead. Look at my forehead. Okay, anyway, so the puffy face comment for me, I look at old pictures of myself and I'm like, oh, I miss my fat face, meaning collagen. But if somebody said that to me when I was a kid, your face is so puffy, something would click in me being like, there's something wrong with my face. And then it starts. She obviously did not internalize this as like a cute compliment. Like, you're such a cute kid with your like cute big cheek. Oye, pero TikTok Que se yo? What did I do? Oh my God, someone's phone is in the street. It's all about the details. Then Amanda got the best thing that's ever happened to me and probably the worst thing that's ever happened to her. This is why can't adults let things be nice? Like, God freaking forbid you protect a kid who's, and it's obvious their parents are like, deuces, we just bought a house, keep her working. And I know why. It's because they're easy money. Oh, the parents don't care? They want her to work more? Reel it in, and it's disgusting. Also, this is also the show where she's had her first boyfriend, who was 19 and she was 15. And before I go into like the idea of maturity and how men love to say you're so mature for your age. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about it in the next part 5, Amanda Bynes. So we were saying how, like her boyfriend, like her first boyfriend was 19 and she was 15. And, people love to talk about like the idea of maturity. And yeah, of course, like we can watch Uptown Girls and be like, that little girl is so mature, Dakota Fanning. But what do we really find out? It has nothing to do with maturity. It's what she thought people wanted her to be, like what she needed her mother in the movie to be. And I bring this up because so many people comment like, well, I met my boyfriend at this time, that time, and Mazel, L'chaim, God bless, but you're going to tell me you can look at a sophomore in college, dating a sophomore in high school, if not a freshman, and think that's totally normal and okay? That they're what? That they're watching movies together at night? Like, what do you think? It's because people who are older know that like, why does Scott Disick, I'm sorry to bring him up, but I look at men who are in their 40s and dating women who are in their 20s, and it's because these women don't know to call them out on their shit. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain behaviors that are normal for freshmen in high school, but that an older man should not be doing, Sorry about that rant. Anyway, after 3 seasons of the Amanda show, she decided to move on, that she was done. And I mean, the characters on that show, we still talk about today. Like, should I show you some moments? Oh, I have to.
Room of Judge Trudy. When you've got a beef, don't take the law into your own hands. Put your beef in the hands of Judge Trudy. Okay. Rise up.
Sit. Hello, I am Judge Trudy. Now.
Interpretive dance. I call this dance melon.
Okay, miss, we've got 1 seat left. Right here.
Excuse me, thank you.
And you kids, stay out of our yard!
This is Mrs. Lemon.
There are so many, but the guy that's in that skit is Dan Schneider, and we're going to talk about him because he's not a good guy. Part 6, Amanda Bynes. I'm trying to do these as fast as I can because it's Thanksgiving, and I know my mom's going to come in here and be like, let's go to dinner. And I'm like, it's 4 p.m. Why are we doing that? And I know what it is, so that she can relax and she can have a glass of wine, and she deserves that. But what about me and my friends? You, huh? I can't get over the Botox, how good it is. Oh my God. Andy at Dr. Halas's office in Manhattan. So let's talk about Dan Schneider. He wrote many of our favorite shows. He worked for Nickelodeon for a long time. And after the rumors of how inappropriate he was, Nickelodeon was like, you know what? Let's let him go. And he can have $7 million. Yes. So Dan met Amanda when she was 10. And Amanda being his favorite led to the Amanda show. Many people have come out and said that Dan was extremely inappropriate with children and was extremely creepy. There have been many, 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 many accounts of Amanda saying many, many times that she was exhausted and that she was tired and that she really needed a break. I personally cannot even imagine. I do a series and I'm like, I'm exhausted. People want to see me for dinner. I can't even imagine. I just dived deep and connected my third eye with somebody who's very, very like, you know what I mean? Like it's exhausting. I am not comparing myself to Amanda Bynes, to childhood Amanda Bynes. I am just saying that I cannot imagine the work, and she was a kid. So even though many people have been witness to her saying, hey, I'm really freaking tired, her parents were just not around. They were very busy, quite frankly, spending her money. Like, bluntly. I could say a million things, but that's what they were doing. They were spending her money. Like, no, we can't make it. We're buying a house. Another one. No, we can't make it. We're going on vacation. And Amanda would just be working. And Dan would tell people that he was like a father figure to Amanda. And at one point, he even wanted Amanda to move in with him. Is that normal? I'm talking beyond like Lifetime movie, Hallmark movie, like Miss Honey and Matilda. Is that normal? There have been accounts about Dan and Amanda on set, and in between takes, he would hold her from behind like a prom pose. Like a boyfriend. And sometimes even her parents were there and they wouldn't say anything. For auditions, apparently it was required that kids wore spaghetti straps and open-toe shoes and pigtails. Pigtails were mandatory if you wanted to audition for Dan Schneider. In fact, when kids got the part, they were invited to these producer parties, and they really wanted the producers to bond with the children, so parents were not allowed. But it was a no-shoes party, and they told the parents that the kids had to be comfortable with pictures being taken of their feet. And if the parents went, the kids could not come, and they said how terrible that your kid cannot celebrate their part. We're letting them go. Part 7, Amanda Bynes, and I just want to put a little TW here because we're just going to talk about adults being inappropriate with kids, and I'm alluding to, really inappropriate behavior. Okay? Love you. So I saved this little blurb and I'm going to read it to you. What allegedly happened to Amanda Bynes might have happened to other Nickelodeon stars as well. There are several videos across YouTube showcasing compilations of Nickelodeon scenes that are way too unsuitable for children to be watching. One major issue fans have noticed is the undeniable foot fetish. Can I say fetish on TikTok? The undeniable way that Dan Schneider loved feetsies and would constantly incorporate it into TV shows. There are too many scenes where the young teenagers take off their shoes and socks in multiple Nickelodeon shows for no legitimate reason according to the plot at all. In one scene starring Ariana Grande, she's forced to lay upside down on a bed and pour water on herself in a way that looks like something is being splashed on her face. Something inappropriate. She's forced to, in another scene starring Victoria Justice, she must use a bow and arrow with her feet during detention. In another scene also starring Victoria Justice, the character of Robbie must blow bubbles on Tori's tummy. The whole thing just looks super weird and is completely unnecessary for a kids show. Schneider was in charge of these things when these inappropriate scenes were included, which lead us to believe that he either came up with the ideas for these scenes or signed off on all of them with approval. Someone else that worked closely with Amanda Bynes and other child stars, his name's Marty Weiss. Give him a Google and see where he's at now. Because he gets 3 meals a day and he sleeps in a cot and he cannot leave. Apparently during this time is also when Amanda started binge eating. And Dan Schneider and team allegedly started feeding her stimulants to control her weight and also to keep her working because she would often complain that she was so tired. So after 3 seasons of the Amanda Show, she was ready to move on, and Frankie Muniz, who is Cuban, Latinos, was starring in a movie. He was in Malcolm in the Middle, and I just need to say, I've recently found out that he was in an accident. Not recently, but he was in an accident in the past and suffered amnesia, and he does not remember being on Malcolm in the Middle. That alone has ruined my heart. So Frankie was gonna star in this movie called Big Fat Liar about a kid that writes this amazing movie and nobody believes him because some studio exec steals it from him. Paul Giamatti stars in it and I love him, and I quote his sideways line all the time. I'm not drinking Merlot. There's a role of a sidekick, and Lindsay Lohan was supposed to get this role, but she wanted a break from acting, so it went to Amanda Bynes. And this really started her career. Part 8, Amanda Bynes. And I just want to start off with this part. The way that we remember people in history is because of the way that we talked about them, right? So talking about people, even like Britney Spears, because Amanda's also under conservatorship, and we'll get to that in a second, it's important that we remember the hard work that they put through, because if it wasn't for social media, how would we have remembered Britney Spears? You know, crazy, these words, right? And the way that we remember Amanda Bynes, I feel sad because there are some kids who grew up thinking Amanda Bynes is just that crazy lady in a wig who used to be famous. And the talent, like, there has to be a place in history where we can talk about people who were talented without holding their status against them, without holding their celebrity against them, you know? And a lot of that comes from envy. I think a lot of that comes from jealousy. And people project their shit onto other people all the time. But I just wanted to say, like, these series, I keep doing them because I think somebody has to remember. And every time I do, it's crazy how much people do remember, but we don't talk about it because the news is happening all the time. It's not like we're responsible for that, but in a way we are. So I took up half the video talking about that. Anyway, so Lindsay Lohan was supposed to get this role in Big Fat Liar, but she wanted to take a break from acting and be quote unquote like a normal kid. And that didn't happen. And so the role went to Amanda Bynes, and this was really like her introduction to things other than Nickelodeon. And from there, she got What I Like About You. So What I Like About You is an adorable show, like Amanda Bynes living with her sister Jenny Garth. Of course, it didn't get like rave reviews, but did One Tree Hill? You know what I mean? Like, okay. It was a good freaking show, and it was cute. And it really like catapulted her into like it teen girl status. I just also like to note that she started dating her co-star in this show when she was 17 and he was 24. Dude. Hi. Should I put my face on someone? I'll put my face over Mandy. So because she was like an it girl teen, she I just want to get this right. Okay. Because she was an it girl teen, she landed the cover of this iconic Vanity Fair cover. And it was extremely full of drama. You can read about it. Evan Rachel Wood said she was forced to wear things she didn't want to do, and there was a lot of ego on set, and one person in particular, you can guess who, took way too long, and Aaron Carter was on set, and all this like crazy stuff. Okay. You want to get a bunch of teenage girls in a room and thinking everything's going to be... Please. Hi, sorry, I had to change. Part 9, Amanda Bynes. So this is also around the time when Amanda started to distance herself from her family and emancipate herself from her family. I just want to let you guys know that when I was little, and instead of saying emaciated, I would tell people, I'm so hungry, I'm emancipated. And my mom had to be like, she doesn't know. That's not what she means. It was also around this time that she went to go film this movie in the DR, and that was a flop, and it was like produced by Lance Bass. Hollywood is just so... It was called like Love Wrecked, whatever. Anyway, she got mono. And if you've ever had mono, I'm one of the lucky few that got mono twice. Yes. I lost so much weight that when I got back to school, people started calling me the Geico Gecko because my head was so big. Kids are amazing. I loved it. So she got down to 100 pounds. And I just want to preface this with another TW that we're going to talk about ED, okay? Okay. So she got down to 100 pounds, and it was during this time that her mom told her, you know, you've never looked better. So this is where her obsession with being 100 pounds began. Because in her mind, she's like, I've never looked better. And I mean, it doesn't take a lot for a teen girl to be like, no, I need to look like this. Somebody said it. To like absorb a compliment like that. I think we've all been there. I've talked about it before, but this also coincides with toxic early 2000s weight culture. I have touched on how during those years as a society, we were obsessed with being the skinny, mean white girl. Skinny, mean, white, blonde girl, right? Look at all the films during that time, who's like the person that's like to be envied, right? From Mean Girls to The Hot Chick. It's skinny, white, wealthy. Mean Girls. She starts filming She's the Man, which is incredible, starring Channing Tatum, whom she dated. Did you know she also dated Kid Cudi? Yeah. Amanda and Scott. Anyway, she starts dating She's the Man. It's about this girl who's like on the girls' soccer team, and the girls' soccer team ends, so she starts playing soccer as though she's her brother, right? And hilarious. How would it do today? I don't know. But at the time, the movie did really well. Oh my God, did I skip over that she filmed What a Girl Wants with the OG Mr. Darcy, Colin Firth, that I sometimes call Colin Farrell, saying things like, I love Colin Farrell, he does amazing period pieces, and people look at me like, what, like phone booth? Like, Amanda's in an interview since then saying that that movie was one of the biggest regrets of her life because seeing herself on screen dressed as a boy exasperated her body dysmorphia. Part 10, Amanda Bynes. So apparently seeing herself dressed as a boy kind of messed with her mind and really, really intensified her already present body dysmorphia. And us, as a culture, become obsessed with Lindsay Lohan. And Amanda Bynes saw that we embraced her as this like sexy, edgy girl. And she started getting really sexy, edgy roles. Definitely not like crazy sexy roles, but definitely edgier roles and sexier roles, mature roles than Amanda had been getting. So of course the media saw an opportunity to put two girls to have two girls. What's the word? Starts with a P. Pivot two girls together? No. Pin two girls against each other. So Lindsay Lohan, while already being compared endlessly to Hilary Duff, especially with the Aaron Carter drama that we have talked about in a previous series, she was also being compared to Amanda Bynes. And Amanda Bynes she really took this to heart because she wanted the roles that Lindsay Lohan was getting. And it reminds me a lot of Marilyn Monroe and Jackie O, like how two women, it could not possibly be both, and so while she was this goody two-shoes girl, she was getting those parts. It was like she kept getting typecasted as this like girl who was like, I mean, you know her movies, the quirky girl that doesn't fit in, that the blonde girl doesn't like, and Lindsay, with her career was accelerating in a way that Amanda hadn't, and she had put in all those years of work, and here comes this girl doing Freaky Friday and getting everything, you know what I mean, and getting everything that Amanda Bynes wanted. Amanda Bynes also around this time kind of reminds me of Brittany Murphy, if you remember the Brittany Murphy series that we did. I like saying we. How Brittany Murphy really wanted to get these other roles. So she started becoming obsessed with the way that she looked. Like she could barely get on a red carpet without fixing her hair and makeup constantly. I read the same things about Amanda Bynes, that she was like always wearing makeup, always obsessed with how she looked like, had to be wearing the right thing. Her hair had to be always done, and had a mental breakdown if, a hair was out of place or if she like gained 1 pound. While Amanda Bynes was filming Hairspray, which she says like was an amazing role for her. She was these icons, John Travolta, Queen Latifah. Her and Zach were put in this film to like help push it because of, how iconic they were at the time and how popular they were at the time. So she was reading this article about the new skinny pill in town. It was about Adderall, right? So she was like, okay, perfect. This is a new way to continue my obsession with being 100 pounds. And she very easily became so dependent on it. Like she was chewing it constantly, Part 11, Amanda Bynes. I just heard my mom say, okay, everybody get in the car. I'm in the lab. I'm in the office. I know it's Thanksgiving and everything, but I'm thankful for Amanda Bynes. Let me talk about it. So Amanda becomes obsessed with this controlled substance, right? And this coincides right when Lindsay Lohan is going through her I'm way too skinny era. It was a really scary time too, because I remember Nicole Richie being really, like, people were obsessed with these girls and how much they weighed. And I feel like there was a part of Amanda that was like, I need to look good, but also like they're getting all this attention. It must have been a mind fuck. Like seeing Lindsay Lohan get all the roles that you want and looking a certain way as she's a teen girl, young girl. she felt she had no choice but to compete with Lindsay Lohan in order to continue acting. But I think at this point, she doesn't even know if she likes acting or if she just wants to be accepted. And like people expect her to do well, so she wants to do well, you know? And this is why, ladies, well, I guess this is for everybody, but I'm just speaking because I've only been a teenage girl. Not anymore. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy with this Botox, but I'm not a teenage girl. This is why you really need to know who you are and have people around you that are complimenting you for more than just how pretty you are and your work ethic, you know? It's really important to find value within yourself, then let other people tell you the value they perceive within you or your potential. Like, why do I have to always be loading? Why can't I today be good enough, you know? And you are. It's fine to have goals, but to say like, or to think I'm only going to be worth so-and-so if I weigh this much and I do this and I go here and I'm with this person. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. So like many comedians, Amanda Bynes wanted to be, oh my God. Sorry, I don't know my string. What I don't know is how long my nails actually are, and I get into a lot of trouble. So like many comedians, Amanda Bynes wanted to be taken more seriously. Like think Adam Sandler in Spanglish and Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and maybe even like 23. She was curious about doing other things other than, you know, being the girl that didn't fit in and is quirky and the kind of underdog type that the audience is cheering for because they can relate to not feeling welcome. Well, what about one time, you know, feeling like you're welcome? That would have been nice for her, I'm sure. When that didn't work out, when she tried to pivot into more serious stuff and it wasn't working for her, she tried to come out with a fashion line with this retailer. It's on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember. It was called Dear by Amanda Bynes, and the fashion retailer went broke and closed down, so it didn't work. Part 12, Amanda Bynes, and we're not even halfway through. I feel like and I need a little coach to, you know, dab my forehead. Was that English? So then she starts filming the American gem gift to humanity, Easy A. I miss singing cards because of this movie. I love this movie. Well, anything with the Tucci in it, I'm with it, you know? So she's filming Easy A, and she still wants to be seen as like sexy, right? And I can't blame her. What young woman doesn't want to be seen as sexy? Nobody wants to stay a Disney kid, right? So she does this like photo shoot and interview with Maxim, and she looks good. She looks good. She looks good as hell. But of course, you know, it comes out and people freak out and people are like, no, oh my God, what about our good girl? Because people are annoying. But I guess like we need people to stay the same because so many things in our lives are like constantly changing that when the people we look up to change, we have to acknowledge the change around us, and that sucks. And also people like to be comfortable, and people think they know best for people that they don't know. Am I talking about myself? We'll get to that another time in therapy. By this time, her dependency on Adderall was like absolutely out of control. She was taking it all day, every day. I was starting to fuck with her mind. She couldn't remember lines. She couldn't sleep. She was strung out. She was a mess on set. She was actually working on a project at that time with like Owen Wilson, I think. And she had to drop out of it. And she even tweeted about it like, oh, it just didn't work with my schedule. But that wasn't true. It's just because she could not get a grip on her. I'm saying dependency, but I want to say addiction. Then she tweets this out, right? I know 24 is a young age to retire, but you heard it here first. I've #retired. I don't love acting anymore, so I've stopped doing it. If I don't love something anymore, I stop doing it. Being an actress isn't as fun as it may seem. I've never written the movies and TV shows I've been a part of. I've only acted like the characters the producers or directors wanted me to play. I gotta read more. There's no way directors should have been complicated for me. So of course people were like, what the I remember reading this being like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But then Easy A comes out and she tweets, not retired. So she watches Easy A and she says that she can't bear her performance, and she personally decides, which breaks my heart, that she is not talented enough to continue acting, and that she's going to give it up for good. So she goes from being busy all the time, 24/7, doing a million things, to doing nothing all day. This is why some rock stars won't retire. It's like they can't handle the thought of like not doing anything all day. So she starts partying. Amanda Bynes, part 13. The threats in my Instagram DMs were a lot, but in a weird way, I do appreciate the attention. Before we begin, I just want to say that I have a bandit on my face because I am a 31-year-old woman that still picks at her adult acne, and it hurts so bad, and it is so bad. I made it so bad, but, or actually maybe this is just like a little Nelly style I'm trying to bring back, you know? Uh-oh, what's happening now? I also did lose my voice because it's Art Basel and I overdid it. Of course I overdid it. Let's get into Amanda, okay? So March 2012, a cop pulls her over for texting and driving, right? I remember like that was like a big thing in California. Is it still? I have no idea. So anyway, she's like texting and driving and he pulls her over and she gives him her information and he puts it in the system and he has a ticket, and when he's coming back to like give her license, her information and her ticket that was like $20, she speeds off and he doesn't chase her because he has all of her information. And so eventually she has to come in and whatever, and she gets the ticket. But then like a week later, she sideswipes a parked cop car, which is like, fuck, out of all the cars in LA, and there are so many, and it's like 3 a.m. and they said that she seems disoriented and she refuses to take a breathalyzer or do the breathalyzer. She refuses to put her breath on the lyzer, and they bring her in. And that is how we have this mugshot. Just a couple of pink-haired girlies. So if you watch the previous parts, you know that she was kind of intimidated about Lindsay Lohan getting a lot of parts and a lot of attention during this time. Was Amanda Bynes trying to be a tabloid girl too? Was she thinking, you know, this is working for Lindsay Lohan, this like bad girl, party girl thing? Should I give this a real go? You know, because it was a lot. It was a lot happened in a very short amount of time. And eventually, of course, if you're familiar with the Amanda Bynes story, we find out, you know, maybe it's not so much attention, but she is ill. She's not okay. She's not in an okay place. But at this time, I wonder, was she like, fuck it, I'm going to be a tabloid girl, you know? So she rear-ends another car shortly after this incident, and she doesn't exchange any information or wait for the police to arrive to the scene. So it's technically considered a hit and run. After this, her dad gives a quote to People magazine saying like, Amanda doesn't even drink, you know, like the media is making her out to be this like person that she's not. In September, she loses all of her driving privileges and she starts getting weird at Equinox. Part 14, Amanda Bynes. So the last thing I said was that she starts getting weird at Equinox. And I think this is really when people were like, okay, she's not just like bored at home and like retired and happy, but something is not okay. And I'm going to read you. You think you're so... No, I'm going to read this to you. Several people from her gym, Equinox in West Hollywood. I feel like Equinox West Hollywood is in the news a lot. A lot of weird stuff happens. If you have heard of something weird happening in the Equinox of WeHo, please let me know. Equinox in West Hollywood tell us she has been showing increasingly alarming signs of delusional behavior. One person says Amanda came to the gym Thursday looking dazed and began talking to herself, making comments and then answering back. Another person says when Amanda was on the elliptical, she would stop suddenly and start laughing hysterically for no reason. She did this periodically throughout her workout. This person says he's seen her dozens of times, so we know it's a man. Sorry. This person says he's seen her dozens of times in the last few months and says it's apparent her condition is deteriorating. I'd like to see you and judge your condition, sir. No, I'm just saying, I'm a little protective, but yeah, that is not normal. Several of Amanda's neighbors echo the concern over Amanda's condition. One tells us he observed her on several occasions having long conversations with inanimate objects. Another person says people in her condo complex are aware of her condition and her conduct, but haven't called her friends or relatives or authorities because they just don't want to get involved, given her profile. I get it. Some of the people in the building have been upset over the last few weeks because they believe the media is painting Amanda as a garden variety pothead, and they say her problems are much deeper. People in Equinox were also saying that she would smoke weed on the gym. Weed. TikTok, please let this stay up. I'm just telling a story. It's not me, but on the gym floor, and they would have to be like, dude, please come on, After this story comes out, the LAPD catches her driving with a suspended license. So it's around this time, the fall of 2012, September to be exact. Lindsay Lohan is not experiencing the best experience with the authorities. She's getting into a lot of trouble, and she tweets this. Why did I get put in jail and a Nickelodeon star has had no punishments so far? Little did you know, Amanda was just, warming up. It's actually pretty sad, but let's continue. I'm trying to find a way to talk about this in a way where it's still lighthearted. It's in the past. She's in a much better place, but also informative. Does that make sense? Yeah. Oh, what's happening now? Part 15, Amanda Bynes. So then reports come out. If you hear somebody in the background, it's my beautiful friend Sylvia, and she's working, and I'm staying at her place. And she's taking wonderful care of me. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm not even sick or anything. But I just like to be babied sometimes. Any Hooserinis, Amanda Bynes goes into this clothing store. Why are you burping? It's so rude. I'm in the middle of a story. Why would you do that? That's so rude. Anyway, she locks herself in the fitting room of this clothing store. And she's in there for hours. And to the point where the staff is like, I'm going to call the police. It's been hours. You need to get out of here. We're closing. And all of a sudden she just opens the door and she's totally normal. She was like, I was just doing my makeup. Okay. And then Equinox bans her. Apparently she was in a spin class. She was spinning. But she kept getting up in the middle of the class to change bikes and to fix her makeup and to fix her hair and to pose in the mirror. But the final straw for the instructor, I can't even imagine. I would be so annoyed. When I'm doing a spin class, I'm not in spin class. I'm Tour de Francing, hard as hell. I'm representing America and Colombia and Brazil. You know what I mean? I'm in the zone. You can't just get up. We're in a race, But the instructor was she took off her shirt and had this teeny tiny little black bralette, and I had to kick her out. And Equinox was like, that's enough. You're scaring people. You're interrupting class. You laugh maniacally. Is that how you say it? Maniacally with her head back like that, Giving big Ursula vibes. This is not a direct quote. I'm just saying how I would say it. Amanda, you're giving us big Ursula vibes, and I don't like it. Okay, you got to go home. You got to get some good sleep. Drake says everything can be solved in 3 sleeps. That's how I would talk to her. I'd give her a hug and a blue Powerade because I'm a good person. Something that does break my heart, though, is the people at Equinox said that she was the majority of her workout was constantly body checking. If you don't know what that is, it's you remember in White Chicks when she's TW for everybody who has issues with, food and their bodies and their relationship with their bodies. When she grabs her stomach, she's I'm a fatty, big fat, body checking is when you're constantly checking your thighs or the fat. I used to do that all the time. And it breaks my heart because I feel from talking to herself and responding to herself and the body checking and locking, did she feel foreign in her body? That makes me so sad. The body can betray you. Sometimes the mind. Part 16, Amanda Bynes. Okay, so after the Equinox reports come out, obviously, I'm sure her phone was ringing off the hook. And she usually does a lot of her interviews, I've noticed, with People Mag. Her family and her loved People Magazine the most. I mean, I understand why. I guess it's the least scandalous, a little bit more wholesome. You know what I mean? Have you seen their Instagram? All they post is kittens. I appreciate that. I also just want to note that during this interview, People Magazine commented on her behavior. They said she was polite, respectful, and upbeat on the phone. So Amanda Bynes told them, I am doing amazing. I am retired as an actor. I am moving to New York to launch my career. And that she did. She did move to New York, and that was a mess and a half. And I'm going to do a fashion line. I'm not talking about being arrested for DUI because I don't drink, and I don't drink and drive. It is all false. But apparently they interviewed like a couple of her friends, and doubt it. She tells people she doesn't party or drink. She doesn't realize she has a problem. So they're saying essentially she's lying. It was also around this time that every time like paparazzi like caught up to her, she would always like, and this happened a lot even with like fans as time went on, she would always say like, stop, like I need to look beautiful, like make sure the photos are beautiful, I really need to look beautiful, like verbatim, I need to look beautiful. And then she would make the paparazzi show her the photos, and if she didn't like them, she was like, you need to delete that. And if they didn't, then she would get really violent. Like, she attacks a paparazzi at one point, like scratches the shit out of him, and he presses charges because he wouldn't let her see the photos. But the line, I need to look beautiful, she says a lot throughout this time. Then she goes into a bakery, and the bakery's closing. But she goes straight into the bathroom, and she locks herself in there, and she's there for over an hour, and they're like, she's for sure, they like smell what's going on in there. So they call the fire department. The fire department is like, we can't get her out, and she won't come out. And then when the firefighter was like, okay, I'm gonna call the cops, she came out and she was like, why would you do that? I was just doing my makeup. Why would you do that? I'm a good person. Why would you do that? After this, something happens. Her agent, her publicist, and her manager all drop her the same day in like a fatal swoop. I've always wanted to say that. In one fatal swoop. Then she moves to New York City. Sorry. Did you see me disassociate? She says that she hates LA, so she's moving to New York. She's over LA. She wants to be a New Yorker, and she wants to get into fashion. Part 17, Amanda Bynes. So this is when, in the middle of all this madness, she's like, you know what I need? And we were like, what? And she's like, an Instagram account. And we said, absolutely. I just want to say, like, going back and seeing these things, like, it is so painfully obvious that this person needed help. And I mean, I was like 21, 22. And it was so weird seeing her like this, especially because I know that people grow up, and as people grow up, their look changes. But now, with what I know and being older, I feel like trauma kind of changed her face. Like, her face became like no one was home. I don't know. And you know that book that everybody talks about, like, The Body Doesn't Forget? I feel like her face just like something changed. So she gets an Instagram account and she starts posting all these photos. And all the captions basically are about like how hard it is to lose weight and how she wants to lose weight. It's all weight related and like how beautiful she is, you know? So she has like a new like sexy, darker look going on. She really loves showing off what she called like her jeans with her sexy holes. Like, she loved who didn't during this time, right? Like, especially if you grew up during Y2K, the idea of this thigh gap, when people were like obsessed with it. I remember magazines, especially like Us Weekly, listing the celebrities that had the thigh gap and those that didn't. What the fuck was going on? Hi. I put my head over the cleave, you know, for the CGs, the community guidelines, ye old guidelines, you know. A lot of sexy pics going on. Yeah. And then also, if you remember, Instagram is where she debuted her dimple piercings. That was a lot of look. Guys, I'm so sorry because after this, I was in Miami for Basel, and then I went to New York for 12 hours, and then I flew to LA for the day, and then I came back to New York, and then I went to LA, and now I'm back. So let's continue. I am so sleepy night, but let's continue. I go to LA tomorrow. Here are the dimple pics. I don't know how I feel about the dimple, but a lot of people were like, oh, you're trying to be like Angela, Dream Kardashian's mummy, also known as Black China. Used to race in China, bring the race to China, little bad pretty bit. Bars, sentencing. Okay, back to the story. Any hooserinis. Then news comes out that Amanda was evicted from her apartment because she left the front door to her apartment wide open. We're running out of time. Wide open, and she would be, and the smell was everywhere. Okay, I don't know why the audio. This is part 18. This is the next part. I don't know why the audio is playing with me right now, but hopefully this is synchronized. So Amanda Bynes gets evicted from her apartment, right? And people, her neighbors, are like, when she moved in, she was very nice. She was very nice, very normal, you know, a normal neighbor. She came by, she introduced herself to all of us, said hello, and then erratic behavior. And she was relaxing all day with the front door wide open, like inviting anybody in. And the weirdest thing is, like, she replaced all of the bulbs in the apartment red. And people were like, at any hour of the night, all her light bulbs were on red, and were not on red. I'm just used to saying, like, you left me on red. So her neighbors were like, at all hours of the night. I hate that you can see my painting behind me, this little naked lady, whatever. At all hours of the night, no matter the time, people would pass her door and it'd be wide open with all the red lights on constantly, which is weird. And the whole floor would smell of what she was doing. So she gets evicted and she moves into the W on Times Square in Manhattan, right? And she gets kicked out of there because she keeps walking around relaxing with no pants on at all hours of the night and day. When I tell you that my mother would have flown to New York to drag my ass back to Miami and take me to church, and we would run, not walk to Jesus. That is why sometimes I think, you know, where were her parents? They were not around. Do you remember when Us Weekly used to do 25 things you didn't know about insert celebrity? I remember, like, clearly Amanda Bynes did her 25 things. And one of them was about her weight. Let me try to... Okay, I found it. Number 11. I gain weight quickly, so I need to work out constantly. 25 things you didn't know about me? Like, we wanted to know your rising sign. Like, okay, number 15. I moved to New York City, and I love it. I lost 4 pounds. Trigger warning, we're going to talk about weight. I'm always so late with these little TWs. 4 pounds since I moved. I'm 121 pounds. My goal is 100 pounds. What I find to be odd is how much she wants us to know that she's working on this. That's what, it's like a hyper awareness about how she's perceived is what really makes me sad. Number 5, I'm addicted to online shopping. I mean, same, Amanda. Then come the tweets. Yeah, more tweets. Part 20, Amanda Bynes. So this is the part of her tweets history where she starts calling people ugly. And I think the weirdest and the oddest and the funniest to me is when she tweeted at Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama and her husband that they were ugly. When, like, a year before, when she was in legal trouble because she kept getting DUIs, she, like, tweeted at Barack Obama to help her. She's like, I don't drink. Please help me. Next year, also, P.S. BTW, you're ugly. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, especially because we have eyes. And don't you ever say that about my little Michelle. Ever. Then she was like, I'm going to post ugly tweets of Drake every time I see one. It's not that hard. That is not nice. However, that Sprite commercial was a lot. She's like, at Drake, girls love your fug face. The Sprite commercial wasn't that bad. I immediately feel guilty. It wasn't that bad. Aubrey, all love. You were my number 1 Spotify artist. So many years in a row. Nonstop. Okay, bye. Then Jenny McCarthy. Do you remember Jenny McCarthy's Candies ads? They were so funny. They were so good. But anyway, police were allegedly at Amanda Bynes' house for whatever reason. And whatever reason, plentiful. And then Jenny McCarthy was like, oh my God, we need to help Amanda Bynes. Like, where are her parents, et cetera, et cetera. And Amanda was like, you're feísima. Estás fea. Fea con ganas. You're ugly, ugly, ugly. But she's not ugly. This is a good one at Chrissy Teigen, because Chrissy Teigen tweeted that she was concerned about Amanda Bynes, as we all were, okay? And then Amanda Bynes said, I signed to Ford models at age 13. I don't look up to you beauty-wise. I'm far prettier than you, exclamation mark. I'm far prettier than you. I'm offended that you're saying I have mental illness when I show no signs of it. But thankfully, not one man that wants me wants you, and you're an ugly old model compared to me. Amanda Bynes with the ether. She said, my dad is as ugly as RuPaul. How dare you? So thankful I look nothing like you both. I had no surgery after my mugshots, and so my nose and I are gorgeous. She brings up her nose a lot. A lot. Did you just look at it? I just looked at it. She's always talking about how she wants it to be thinner. Or the bridge is messed. She talks about her nose a lot in her tweets. If you look up Amanda Bynes' nose, 1,000,100 tweets. Jason Biggs, Miley Cyrus, Jay-Z. She even talks about Rihanna. She's like, Rihanna, it's so pathetic how you're trying to be white all the time or something like that. But it's definitely, I'm paraphrasing, but she definitely is like, Rihanna, it's so sad that you're trying to be white. To Robin Rihanna Fenty. Imagine the gall and the nerve. She's ill. I get it. She's ill. But imagine what? Okay, Amanda Bynes part. Oh my God, I just uploaded it. What part is it? 20? 21? Oh my God. I'm scaring myself. Next part. So around this time, many publications, journalists, writers, bloggers, comments are saying, hey, Amanda Bynes should be in a conservatorship because Britney Spears is in a conservatorship and she's doing so well. But you know what? I am a huge Britney Spears fan. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to cry. I have always been a huge Britney Spears fan. And I remember after everything that was in the media being relieved when her family stepped in and her dad took over. Because in our minds, parents help. And everything was so polished and so clean during this time, especially like no celebrity would come out and talk about their family unless it was dire. Like Drew Barrymore, Brooke Shields, like abuse in the family, you know? And Amanda Bynes, although she had spoken out about what she had endured family-wise, because of her erratic behavior, people are like, we don't know what to believe. And honestly, her being unstable makes good money. So let's just start pushing out all the things that she says without being like, is she okay? We never heard, is she okay? But now the drama of another star getting a conservatorship would be really great money for media, I think. So people kept pushing and pushing for the conservatorship, especially, you know, like she started walking around the city with no pants on and just fishnets, no shoes. I'll never forget that time she went to that hair salon and she like burned her fingers, and it's because the people at the salon said we were bleaching her hair and she said we weren't doing it right, and she put her fingers on her scalp instead of rubbing in her own bleach. That's why she was like, oh, I got extensions because all my hair fell out because the salon did it wrong. If you Google it, you'll see, like, you can see, like, her tracks really close to her head. It's because her hair fell out because she wouldn't let the people do her job, and she was rubbing it in and letting it sit and going outside without pants on and smoking. It was just, so people were like, conservatorship, you know? And in the past, when I've talked about conservatorships, I think if you go back years, when I'm just like, well, you know, like a conservatorship is for elderly. People who follow me have come out and said, like, no, my brother who has schizophrenia is in a conservatorship. My brother who has severe bipolar disorder is in a conservatorship. It's really for people that just cannot take care of themselves. But I feel like that's what's it called? Like the last thing you do. When I'm not filming myself, I say the words well, very well. But then I turn on the camera and I'm like, it's the last thing you do. Last resort. Nailed it. Do you remember the video that went viral? You've probably seen it when she's eating the Sour Patch Kid. I'll show you. Part 22, Amanda Bynes. So we just talked about like the idea of like conservatorship being so new to people who don't practice law, you know? And I was 23? You know, I barely know about the Apple iPhone terms and conditions, so my knowledge on conservatorships were minimal. But I did something. So as I'm reading this and I'm seeing all these people talk about conservatorships, I went on Twitter. And I'm not going to show the ats, like the handles of these people, because it was a long time ago. And people, I'm sure through time that these people, I hope, have grown from the things that they were tweeting. But so many people were like, stop giving this girl attention. It's all for, you know, attention, and they were comparing her to Joaquin Phoenix. Like, remember how he kind of had that public mental breakdown for that documentary that did not do well at all, and he behaved oddly. And a lot of people were like, is this a performance piece? You know what I mean? And it just makes me sad how much as a public we think everything, even someone's mental decay, is for us. It's for our show. It's for theater. So then apparently these two people went to Amanda Bynes' house and took photos of her living situation. And I mean, you can imagine that it was not tidy. So they partied with her all night at her apartment, and then they sold these photos to In Touch Weekly. So it's all like very cheap and very tacky, and not of Amanda. Amanda's almost hookup. Apparently they said that, you know, like Amanda was like all over them. And her bathroom was in disarray, and there were like hair extensions, and it was a messy place, okay? And I feel like when you're in a bad place, your tidiness, what have you, so a grown-up, is the first to go. And that's why every time you see like these videos dedicated to somebody maybe not having a great day on TikTok, they're like, hey, clean up your room a little. Take a shower, because your hygiene and your environment is the first to go. I mean, I know. I think we all know what that's like, being just, and to have people come over and like to take pictures to sell them to a magazine. I think the worst part too for me was like, she said that all of this was photoshopped. Apparently smoking in bed. So she said that her feet were photoshopped here, that she's very, very clean. And apparently they said that she would like roll up her relaxing stuff halfway and put it out and light a new one. Like, it was just all night lighting a million different relaxation thingies. Yeah, we're doing part 23 of Amanda Bynes. A bitch is back. A bitch is back. Okay. We left off with people taking pictures of her apartment and her saying that her feet were photoshopped. Go look for it. It's like 3 scrolls down, I think. Yeah, I TikTok like a motherfucker. That's a lot. But anyway, let's go to May 23rd, 2013, okay? Amanda Bynes tries and fails to get on a plane because she doesn't have any ID. Apparently she doesn't have a driver's license. I mean, she doesn't have a driver's license at this time because, yeah. And she doesn't have a passport, apparently. So when security's like, hey, where's your ID? She Googles herself. She's like, this is me. And they're like, no. And she was like, nah, you know. Later that night, she goes to her apartment, and the cops are called because she won't stop relaxing in the lobby, right? So the cops show up. She lets them into their apartment, and she apparently throws a vase, according to her, out the window. She said, I just wanted to open the window for some fresh air, and the vase fell. And it was not a vase. It was some, you know, like, boys put ice cubes in it and don't wash it. It rhymes with fong. Whatever. The cops were like, okay, no. We are taking you in for reckless endangerment because she lived in a tall building and she could have killed someone. And also you're being weird. So we're taking you in. That's where we get this mugshot from. I can imagine she hates it. I think it's very chic. I think she looks stellar and it's a look, but that's not up to me. Okay, apparently she hates it. This is also the court hearing. Like, this is the arrest where we got these photos that are everywhere. And for many years after this, anytime anybody ever uttered the words Amanda Bynes, they were like, the wig, which whatever. It is a bad wig. So, I'm not here to judge. A lot. She gets out, she posts bail, she gets home, and she tweets, NYPD is insane. I just wanted some fresh air. A little TW here for some SA. She also tweets, you know, that's why they let her out, because they couldn't find any evidence of said vase, which is true. To this day. I mean, TMZ, I think, lied. Like, a few days later, TMZ was like, we found the vase. The fong. We found the vase fong. But it was just like broken glass on the street. Like, okay, whatever. But nobody could find evidence, glass, nothing. They just saw her like tip something out. Whatever. Anyway, So she tweets out that the NYPD inappropriately touched her. And I'll see you in the next part. I haven't done this in a while. Part 24, Amanda Bynes. I really need you to strap in here, okay? Because we're finishing this shit today. I have cleared the iCal, okay? And I want to post more shit too. So, okay. Part 24. So Amanda Bynes then tweets, I do not have enough time in the world to screenshot all of these tweets. There are so many. So I'm going to paraphrase them for you because I love you, okay? But anyway, she tweets that the NYPD inappropriately touched her and gave her a little pat on her little lady. Not okay. She also tweets that when they booked her, I don't know if that's if I'm using that correctly. When they arrested her, I get into a lot of trouble. I got stopped for a speeding ticket once and I bawled. I was 28. I was like, please don't tell my mom. Latinas. Anyway, while she was, after she was arrested, they sent her to a psych ward, which she said was not okay. And she also tweets that she'd rather her parents be homeless than take any of her money. Also during this time, she was working on becoming a rapper, and she was working with an artist, Waka Flocka Flame, no hands, okay? And that she was very much looking forward to her career as a singer and rapper. I think she did put out a song this year though, called like Diamonds. I'll listen to it later with you. Yes, something to look forward to. In these tweets, she also takes the opportunity to apologize to Kid Cudi for calling him ugly and calling Rihanna ugly, and that Miley Cyrus is the prettiest person in the world. And she apologizes to Drake, and she says, you know, crazy, I was hacked. Wasn't me. Looking at my replies, wasn't me. That's fine, Shaggy. That's cool. And let me just say this. Talking shit about your exes is a very delicate dance. You can say what you want. You can call them ugly all day long, but at the end of the day, you dated them. Still hit. So, what does Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter say? Always stay gracious. The best revenge is your paper. Every video, I prove just how uncool I am, and that's okay with me. Like my bandana? So throughout this time, the paparazzi, of course, are like hounding her because they're making so much money off of her. And she says, you know, I'm hating these pictures, as we've covered in the past, but she's like, you know, I have a birth defect, and that's why my nose is the way it is, and that's when my eyes pop out of my head. And I want to say this as a lesson to us all, damn it, as a lesson to us all. Never, ever, ever. My mom used to say, when you are with somebody, never point out and pinpoint the things you don't like because they might not have ever seen it. So the moment she said this, I was like, I'm like, her eyes are kind of big, I guess. Like, I would have never said anything about your eyes, Amanda, except that they were beautiful and talented and wonderful. After this, she goes to Amanda Bynes, part 25. Where did I leave off? Okay, yes. So the next day, she goes to court in the infamous and iconic blue wig. I personally love this moment. I also want to point out, you can't see it in this photo, but she showed up to court with a Rolex with the wrong day and time on it. But who gives a fuck? Because we're on Amanda Bynes' time, baby. Also, I've had this watch on for a long time. I don't know how to set it, so. Well, anyway, she's formally charged with reckless endangerment and evidence tampering. But the wig is great. The next day, after this, she's recorded like walking the streets of New York barefoot, which if you ever see me doing that, please know that an alien has invaded my body. I rather do so many other things and So she's in the same outfit. She's dancing barefoot, walking all around New York City for hours. Then she gets a room at the Ritz-Carlton. And after 9 days, she gets kicked out, okay? She like racked up a $9,000 bill. That's a lot of in-room service. And I'm telling you, coming from an in-room service girl, there's not a fruit cup, a granola, a pancake, a waffle, and a coffee that I have not tried in any hotel. And I hate it when they're like, how many people will be eating today? And I'm like, you know, it's just me. But anyway, $9,000, you have to be trying to spend money. But she gets kicked out because she keeps relaxing in her room. Relaxing. With her herbal refreshments. And she leaves the room in absolute disaster. Like cigarette burns, garbage everywhere. And something else that is curious to me is that she left all of her makeup behind. To me, that's the worst. Fine, burn the bitch down. But your makeup, it's very hard to get like the right, formula of, it's just an investment really. Also, she like removed the smoke alarms, which apparently she does everywhere she goes. The first thing she does is remove the smoke alarms. Silly. And then the weirdest thing happened, okay? Okay, so it's the 19th, right? She's getting kicked out of the Ritz, and then somehow people see her in LA. So she was in New York, and she ends up in LA. So the media calls her parents, and they're like, your daughter's in Los Angeles. And they're like, how? How? She doesn't have any identification. So there's a couple theories. They think that Amanda cabbed it from New York to LA, which was insane to me. There's no way it was just one cab. I tried to take a cab from San Francisco to Napa this past weekend, and my Uber driver asked as though I asked him to take me back to New York. So I cannot even imagine. Okay, part 26, Amanda Bynes. We're really rolling. I'm scared I'm going to upload like 50 videos today because I want to do another series after this. It's just crazy. Okay, so nobody knows how she got from from New York to LA, right? And people are like, oh, maybe she cabbed it. Stopped every hundo miles or so and got another cab and went straight to Los Angeles. But other people were like, well, maybe she busted. And me thinks that if Amanda Bynes walked over to Times Square and got on a megabus, we would see it. We would see it because we're horrible. And there would have been a million photos of her from somebody's shitty iPhone 2 or whatever the fuck. Then the media runs over to her parents and is like, did you know your daughter's in LA? And they're like, yeah, she told us she cabbed it. And she brought her dog, Sherbert. Sherbert's about to become a main character in just a minute. So apparently after Amanda jumped in a cab, and when it came near, the license plate read fresh with a dice in the mirror. If anything, okay, anyway, she gets dropped off outside this retirement home in Thousand Oaks, California. So she pulls up to the gate and she's like, hey, let me in. And they're like, no, no, you're not coming in. Apparently she looked really disheveled and out of it. So they called her a cab. And when she gets to the cab and she's like, I don't have any money. So he's like, get the fuck out. She refuses to get out of the cab. The cops are called. Nothing happens. They're like, dude, just go on your way. The next day she's pictured shopping, right? And then by nightfall, she decided to, nobody knows if she was maybe looking for her parents' house. She was near the retirement home. Maybe she was confused. But she got a little, one of those red things of gasoline. She had a little gas tank or whatever the fuck it's called. And she poured it on some random person's driveway and she got a little bit on her pants and a little bit on Sherbert. Which I can't even. So she apparently lights a piece of fabric on fire and drops it. But because there's gas on her pant, she lights on fire. So she stops and she drops and she rolls. Smart. Okay. I feel like I would forget. I'd freak the fuck out. But doing this, she startles her dog, and her dog is apparently also on fire. So while she's stopping and dropping and rolling and screaming, people that are driving by stop. And she finally gets it out and she takes off her pants and she runs after her dog. And they're like, where are you going? She's like, my dog is on fire. My dog is on fire. And then a convenience store, I think it's actually a gas station security cam, shows her run. Sorry, my iPhone had to let me know I had 20% battery. Fine. Anyway, she's running through and she goes to the back of the employees only part of this convenience store with her dog. And it's trying to wash her dog. Part 27, Amanda Bynes. I'm looking at this bandana and it's giving off a lot of prison mic vibes. Do you think doing alcohol is cool? So she's in this convenience store. She's trying to wash her dog, and the employee that's working there is like, hey, get the fuck out. And she's like, no, I'm trying to help my burned dog. And he calls the cops. Mind you, before she got into that convenience store, the people that saw her, that were just driving by and saw this person on fire, are chasing her. And she tries to get into a cab, and the people are like, no, we're trying to catch her. She's she set her dog on fire. So the cab driver is also chasing her. Okay, so the police and the fire department catch up to her, and they book her. They put her in a 5150, which is basically a oh my God. The bitch has been speaking English her whole life. I'm new to this. A 5150 is a psychiatric hold where they can hold you up to 72 hours and you're under evaluation. And if they want to extend it by 2 weeks, I think it's like a 5250, I think. In Florida, we call it Baker acted, right? I think. Methinks. The reason I know that is because I had my first stalker in Miami, and we'll talk about that some other time. So after this 5150, after this hold, her parents are like, okay, we're going for the conservatorship. Her parents argue she has spent $1.4 million in cash in a couple months, and she continues to take out $100,000 a day, and no one knows what she's spending it on, but they speculate that it was droga. They also argue her paranoia is at an all-time high, and no matter where she goes, she takes out the smoke detector and she tapes up the windows and tells everybody how everyone's listening to her, and there's paparazzi like in her house. They also say that she's essentially homeless because she keeps getting kicked out of where she is living. And the judge says, no, we're not going to put her under a conservatorship. I need more evidence. So we've already got her. Let's put her under a 5250. Let's hold her for 2 weeks. And while she's being held, they're making her take medication. So the judge is like, let's wait for her to take her medication for the meds to kick in so that we can hear like about what's really going on. During this, the driveway owner is like, yo, I have about $1,000 worth of damages to my driveway. I was an innocent bystander. My driveway was an innocent bystander and I have all this damage. But there was this guy who was trying to sign Amanda Bynes to his record label, Daniel Herman. And he's like, don't worry, I got it. And he paid for all the damages. During this time, in the 2 weeks where she's being held, nurses are giving interviews to people saying, Amanda Bynes, part 28. So what I was saying, while she's in, this psychiatric, oh my God, this psychiatric hold, okay, these nurses apparently are giving interviews, which is not okay, and actually breaking HIPAA. Don't even get me started. But yeah, that's what that is. But apparently she's doing so well on the meds that they decided to keep her for 30 days. She must have been livid. The 30 days are up. They have a court hearing, and the parents are granted a temporary conservatorship. They put her into UCLA for psychiatric help, but it's really expensive, so they end up putting her in a different rehab facility. The Canyon Treatment Center in Malibu. A bunch of stars have gone there. And all of her other cases, like the DUIs and all that stuff, are put on hold, and the vase and all of that are put on hold while she's getting treatment. After a couple weeks at the Canyon Treatment Center, she goes to live with her parents, and everything looks great. She goes to Disney with her parents, the happiest place on earth. Okay. She's seen taking walks with her parents. She's seen at restaurants. She's seemingly quote unquote normal, whatever that means. It's also during this time that Sherbert is placed in another home with another family. Sherbert, I hope you're doing well. You deserve better. She lit you on fire. It's crazy to me. She starts going to school at Fidm for fashion. She starts removing her tattoos, these angel wings right over here, which people see as a great sign. Whatever. I want you to know that if you ever see me removing my tattoos, it is not a great sign. I paid a lot of money for this shit, and I'm getting a new one on Saturday. Please don't tell my mom. The students at Fidm say that she's amazing, that Amanda Bynes is always participating in class and socializing with students and doing group projects and killing it. So the judge is this conservatorship is amazing. And because of the other cases and her good behavior, she ends up getting 3 months of probation, and she has to go take alcohol courses. So during this time, the media keeps speculating about what she could be, right? Is she schizophrenic? Is she bipolar, right? And her mom, I need 2 hands again. Yeah, I slammed it. Her mom comes out and she's like, no, my baby doesn't have anything. She just smoked too much relaxation. So actually, we're taking her off the meds. And people were like, that's a little fucking nuts. Either you're in denial or you're purposely manipulating her because she's getting better. Or Amanda doesn't want people to know, which is also a part. Part 29, Amanda Bynes, right? Okay, so her mom is like, oh, it's just, she has nothing wrong with her. So we're taking her off her meds. And people are like, why would you do that if somebody's doing so well? I think, like, there was a part with my depression where I got a little cocky with it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm fine. Like, that was a phase. And then I got off my antidepressants, and my life. So maybe that was going on. She's like, oh, I'm doing well. But other people are like, sounds like a little bit of sabotage to me, babe. But things were going so well, right? And then September happened. September 2014. Cops pull her over. She's obviously fucked up, but not on like alcohol. It's a stimulant. And they're like, she's so disheveled. She can't get a sentence out. And she failed various sobriety tests. Apparently they gave her various chances and she just could not pass a single one. She couldn't even walk. People speculated it was Adderall. And we already know that she's had issues in the past with Adderall. The media runs to her parents, the little yipper yappers. Enough. Like, start your own blog then, you mommy blogger, whatever. Anyway, they're like, actually, you know, the conservatorship ended, so we don't know what she's been up to. We're out of the control now, and look what happened. She gets kicked out of FIDM. She stops showing up, and when she does show up, students start reporting her to administration saying she's trying to pay us off to do her work. And so it begins. We start with the weird shopping sprees. She's seen shopping day and night, falling asleep in malls. And then the media, Us Weekly and In Touch, if I ever see you in these streets. Anyway, the media is like, somebody get her back on the conservatorship because Britney Spears is doing so well. It's obviously for the best. She was doing so good before. And Britney Spears is thriving. October 2014, she gets caught trying to shoplift, right? At some New York City boutique. And that same day, she ends up going to Barney's, right? And the security footage, and you can find it on the YouTube. It's weird. It creeps me out, personally. The security guard is like asking her, like trying to talk to her. Because she's like disheveled and acting strange. She's trying to talk to her, and she starts grinding on him and like dancing on him and like trying to like rub her body on him. And then this woman starts chasing her around Barney's. This is Did I say that it was Barney's? Well, it's Barney's. And it starts chasing her around with her phone, trying to take pictures of her. So Amanda picks up a hat and is like trying to cover her face and trying to. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but part 30. I gotta say, I get DMs every day from girls saying, I try to do a series on TikTok and everyone's copying, everyone says I'm copying you. And I'm like, if you can do it in less parts, you're doing them a favor. Go ahead, baby. Do it. Talk to them about Paris, Nicole, all of it. Because I do it in 57 parts. And I take a season each series. So Amanda's in Barney's, right? And she's like grinding on the security officer. They wish. Anyway, that was rude. So she's grinding on this guy, and then this woman has her phone out. She's trying to record Amanda. So they're like running around Barney's together. Can you even imaginables that day on the job? Like, bitch, I work retail. I'm tired. Like, please. Anyway, she gets a hat and she's like covering her face. And because she's like running, it still has like the tag on it. You know what I mean? So the alarm goes off and Barney's calls the cops, and the cops show up and Amanda's like, I wasn't trying to steal, explains, and they let her go. That same day, that evening, In Touch is like, we have an exclusive interview with Amanda. We talked to Amanda and here's the tea. I've never said that before. I've wanted to, and here's the tea. It just doesn't feel right. Because I'm old. But young in spirit. Okay, so anyway, In Touch is like, we have exclusive interview with Amanda that she's engaged to this 19-year-old boy that works at a bait and tackle shop. Which, like, bring back normcore. Let's do it. You want to be with a normal guy who loves the water? Do it. Amanda then tweets, like, this is a lie. I've never spoken to In Touch Weekly. But yes, I am getting married. And then I'm going to say a name. that I haven't said in years. But Sam Lutfi sees an opportunity and takes it. Sam Lutfi starts hitting up Amanda Bynes. So if you don't know who Sam Lutfi is, how lucky of you. Sam Lutfi is basically the reason that Jamie Spears and Britney's team saw the opportunity to take control of her life. She trusted Sam Lutfi. Apparently he's very trusting. Courtney Love has a restraining order on him, so does Britney. But all those pictures you see of Britney with like the dark hair and she's like crying everywhere with her like Yorkie, like top 2007 Britney Spears content was Sam Lutfi's basic doing, and you can't convince me otherwise. She dropped all of her management and her whole team and just solely relied on Sam Lutfi, and he's a complete manipulator, skis, leech, loser, con man. So Sam connects with Amanda somehow and says, come to LA, I have a legal team. I see you're in legal trouble. And Part 31, Amanda Bynes. So Sam Lutfi, garbage of a person, loser extraordinaire. So Sam Lutfi's like, Amanda, I see you're in trouble. I want to help you. Like I helped Britney. Okay. And I have a legal team in LA. The only thing Sam Lutfi has is the audacity and restraining orders. Amanda Bynes starts tweeting about her dad, how her dad hurt her. If you remember in the beginning of the series, we get into that. And then quickly comes back and says, that was a microchip in my brain that made me do that. Her family sees those tweets, or basically the media is like, and what do you have to say? Fucking whatever. And the family's obviously like, we're furious, we're heartbroken that she would say this, like, no, whatever. This is what gets me, okay? I'm gonna use two hands for this, again. Man, I hope my neighbors like me. Okay, so, she lands in Los Angeles, okay? And she's gonna go see Sam Lutfi. And TMZ catches up with her, and she's loudly talking on the phone, like walking around like this, like obviously wanting to be heard, like, Jamie Spears is like my dream dad. I get upset. He's such a good dad. Like he's actually like doing things to help Britney. Why can't my family be like that? They just want to like use me. Oh, Amanda, the grass is always greener. Anyway, and she's like, I hate my family. I hate my parents. I wish I was Britney Spears. Dude. Heavy. Where do we even begin with that? This part actually makes me want to cry. So Sam Lutfi's like, meet me here. And she gets into a cab and she goes over there. And she didn't want to go to LA in the first place. She was like, I have a lot of bad memories of LA, but if you say you're going to help me, I'll go. I'll go. I don't know why I do that. And when she arrives, it's Sam Lutfi, Amanda Bynes' parents, and their lawyer. And they put her into a psychiatric hold. So two things happen, right? The conservatorship is renewed and Sam Lutfi proves to be the utmost piece of shit to ever walk the earth. It's like he enjoys being part of people's misery, like truly. If you want to do a Sam Lutfi series, I'm happy to do it. Fight me, Sam. So what else is fucked up is that during this time, she tries to get a lawyer to fight what just happened to her. But because the conservatorship was renewed, you cannot collaborate or work with new people or sign new contracts without permission. So her lawyers turned her away. This is also where shit starts getting weird. From this point on, her parents give her Amex gift cards, like a $50, $100 that she uses. That's the okay. Part 32, Amanda Bynes. So apparently, legally, she doesn't have to live with her. That is so rude to put me out on the street like that, TikTok. Why? Because I'm making 64 videos today? So apparently legally she doesn't have to live with her parents, but they are in control of her money. So they're giving her Amex gift cards every day with like $50 or like $100 on them. And she goes to live with her hairstylist and her roommates. And they were roommates. And the parents tell the media, we're paying for a hotel, but she doesn't want to live there because she doesn't want to feel under our control, which I fucking get. I'm sorry, I yelled. Also during this time, Heidi Montag, I remember this because she also did an interview about it. Heidi Montag tweets at Amanda Bynes is like, you're welcome to crash with us whenever. No. Like, no, that's nice. That's sweet. But no. And she did an interview about like, whatever. Who cares? I just thought it was weird. Perhaps good intentioned, but weird. Then reports come out that she went into this tattoo shop, once again didn't have identification. I think, methinks, not letting or making Amanda get identification is another way to control her. But anyway, she tries to get a tattoo of her fiance's name, and the tattoo shops like turn her away. Still has not confirmed who her fiance is, but he's 19 years old. He's probably very busy selling bait and tackle. The C's never sleep. Sorry. So then guess what? I know this is crazy, but the hairstylist and the roommates fuck her over. Fucking duh. They record her. The recording is kind of nuts. It's hard to keep up. Her stream of consciousness, like the way that she's formulating sentences doesn't really make sense. And it's a short clip, but basically she says how she is dreaming and planning on how to remove her father from this earth permanently. She also tells like somebody there that's with them, like, you're so gay, it's hurting my feelings. She like jumps from like point to point to, oh my God, I almost showed you all yitty. You gotta pay for that. Anyway, so, and the roommates tell to the media, and they want to sue her because they can't get their security deposit back because of the cigarette burns and the carpet and the hair dye stains. And her parents, like Amanda Bynes' parents, are like, fuck you. That was passionate. I really meant it too. You users. And her parents like, you already knew what she was like, and we offered to pay for a hotel. We were paying for a hotel, and you still kept her, and now you're selling like her voice notes to people. So no. So you can fuck right off. Amanda then tweets that like the recording was obviously a joke, and that, okay, Amanda Bynes part 33. Ridiculous. So Amanda Bynes goes back into her parents' care, and she tweets out that the recording was a joke and that she is seeking professional help anyway, so everybody can just relax. She ends up going back to Fidm, and the paparazzi are bored, and she's in recovery, and they start calling her fat. Those motherfuckers. So basically, like, if you're not going to do anything for us, if you're not going to perform for us and do your little tricks, then we're going to go for the trigger points. We're going to hit you where it hurts. 2017 rolls around, and her mom is like, okay, well, tells the courts she should be in control of her money again. She's got it. Amanda Bynes does like a couple interviews. She sounds great. She looks great. And she's like, you know, obviously I was on drugs. And she was like, and when I was on drugs, you know, like, I wanted to sleep with Drake. So that was me telling him, like, let's do this. She's funny. She's funny. She also, like, she's sitting on a couch and she's talking to this person, and she's like, and I think I want to get back into acting. Let me tell you, what a good fucking day. Then she does this interview with Paper Mag, and it was the most transparent interview that she's done. You can read it. It's great. But what do you think is the first thing people said? They're like, she looks awful. So drama. And then the conspiracy theories start. Like Avril Lavigne, which is, I mean, I've gone down that Twitter thread, but they're like, this is a clone. But because of all this commentary on her physical appearance, Amanda checks into rehab because she's so triggered by people talking about her, the way that she looks and her body and her weight. You know, you can give people your whole life. You can give people your talent. You can give people your mind. You can give people your feelings. You can even give them insight to the darkest time of your life. But God forbid you gain weight. So she checks into rehab, you soulless motherfuckers. And she graduates from Fidm, then checks into a sober living house for 6 months and gets a heart tattoo on her face. Do I like it? No. Do I love Amanda? Yes. So am I gonna shut the fuck up about it? Yes. But I just don't, okay, stop it. It could be more even, whatever, it's fine. So she's still posting regularly on social media, just not like less unhinged than before, right? But the comments are disgusting. The conspiracy theories are insane. Mental health is such a stigma that people rather believe that somebody took your identity than that you were in a dark place and they did nothing to help you. That's real. Part 34, Amanda Bynes. So this is also when we learn that Amanda Bynes is engaged to Paul, who she met at AA. Who she met in AA. If I let that sit, it was going to ruin me. So immediately people are like, who the fuck is this? Huh? Who is this? Is he in it for the right reasons? And her parents do not like Paul. So because of the conservatorship, they end the relationship effectively. And apparently Amanda, why won't this little tail tuck in? Apparently Amanda did not receive that news lightly. Who the fuck would? Later we learned that they made them break up for like 24 hours and then they got back on. So Amanda Bynes releases a video on her social media about talking about the conservatorship for the first time and finances. And I'm gonna play it for you. Can you see it? I food in my teeth, that's fine.
I want to talk about a controversial topic. My conservatorship case.
Amanda Bynes speaks out about her conservatorship. The 33-year-old actress posted a video on Instagram late Friday in which she aired her grievances about the cost of her medical treatment and wants to speak to a judge about the terms of her conservatorship. Amanda opened her video thanking fans.
I want to say thank you guys so much for your support. The fact that you've been rooting for me for years means more than you know. Today I want to talk about a controversial topic. My conservatorship case. I have been going to a treatment center that charges $5,200 a month. There's no reason why I shouldn't go to a therapist who takes my insurance for $5,000 less a month. This is why I've asked to see the judge next week regarding this conservatorship issue.
Amanda closed out her message by apologizing for talking about her case on social media.
Thank you guys so much for hearing me out. I'm sorry that this is what I'm dealing with, and I'm sorry to put my problems onto the internet.
I think she sounds great. And I think she has a point. Like, it's her fucking money, and you were complaining about how she was spending her money, and now she wants to be like fiscally responsible. I've never said that before. It sounded adult. And she has to go to the public for help. Before you ask, I have no idea if they actually took her to a different therapist. I have no idea. She also put out a different video about self-esteem and the paparazzi that I love. I'll show that to you too. This is a very professional setup, actually, so.
Hey y'all! I wanted to post a video today to talk about paparazzi and self-worth. Whenever I see a paparazzi photo, the majority of the time, I look nothing like myself. I'm talking 16 chins, face looks completely different, and it's an all-around terrifying experience to look myself up online, quite honestly. Like, I'm about to cry, just thinking about it.
Oh.
But I wanted to post this video so people know that I'm just like you. I want to look my best. Of course, I can take an unflattering shot, but the amount of unflattering...
Okay, Amanda Bynes, part 35. Quickly, yes, she did get a second face tattoo, like a second little heart here. And you know what? I love it. And she has the right to get it. What I think doesn't matter. So anyway, watching those videos, you can finish the other one, just look up like Amanda Bynes, self-esteem, paparazzi, and it should pop up. She was really knowing the heat that she gets. Everything that she posts gets so much heat. She was really transparent. She's super well-spoken, extremely articulate, very vulnerable, very human. If she had tweeted that, people would have made a mockery out of her. But she showed her face, you know, and knowing the issues that she has with her appearance, she still chose to like show her face and tell you how she feels. And I think that's fucking rock and roll. Then Amanda on Instagram uploads a sonogram that has her name on it and announces, I'm pregnant. Shortly after, her lawyer, that's my doorbell. That's my doorbell. Don't make fun of me, dude. Okay, sorry. I don't want to hear it. So her lawyer comes out and is like, her lawyer says she's not pregnant, okay? And there's a bunch of conspiracy theories about that, but I feel like conspiracy theories about that is like really disrespectful. So I'm gonna touch on them really lightly, okay? So one is that according to her conservatorship, they made her, you know, and another, like, not, like, terminate her pregnancy. And then another theory is that it's been so quiet You know, like there's been no photos of her or whatever during that period that they made her give up the child. And the other theory is that like she made it up, but like I feel like that's so rude. It's just that this whole situation is heartbreaking and at every angle. And I just remember when Britney Spears was like, I want to have a kid and they won't let me take my IUD out. You know what I mean? Like, okay. I think the last time she went to court about her conservatorship was somewhere around like March 2021, like early 2021. And she looks great. Her and Paul look really happy. There's some other rumors that she has this like secret Twitter account that people follow. I personally don't think it's her. Where she like complains about Paul and complains about her freedom, but she asks for money a lot on that account. I just don't think, because apparently she says that her parents are in control of her official account. But yeah, I personally don't think it's her. This is the Amanda series. I love Amanda. I'm always gonna love Amanda, and I hope everything turns out okay and we're kinder to people.